Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to 2015 Fall Convocation. Please help me welcome UMass Boston's own Poet Laureate, Duncan Nelson.
What an intro. So the Chancellor and my wife have forbidden me to stand upon a chair. So this will do. Convocation Ode. Back in Corrigan's day, I'd now be partaken of mounds of hash browns and rashers of bacon. But in Keith's frugal care, the fare being lighter, I'll be able to cinch my belt 1 inch tighter. Now, after that prefatory levity, in the interest of greater brevity, the part I shall play in this prandial pageant is to say again and again, just imagine it, and to praise how already imagination has set down its plumb line at Columbia Station. As everywhere around us we see, set in place majestically, GAB1, and integrated science with another building slated to open for art, music, and dance. And Lord knows what else. Yea, wherever we glance, we see working together a strong local mission that expresses also a long global vision. Oh, I know on the way there's been many a glitch, so for all of us, for a moment, I'll bitch. About Healy Library still wearing steel braces. About scarce as hen's teeth parking spaces. About the interminable wait for a McCormick or Wheatley elevator. And about those great mountains of dirt that must be blamed for our being covered in dust. And though there's a lesson that dust will return, it would be nice should it take longer to learn it. Eating breakfast is the perfect trope to express how much we have to hope for. All we need is to look toward the prospect outside that these windows, wherever they are, afford. Through the seeming chaos, an outcome grand, the fruition of everything that's been planned, which though now messily inchoate, and all too often seeming to grow at a pace excruciatingly slow, will come in time, like this rhyme, to show that even a process slow as this can reach so great an apotheosis, nice rhyme. All will be forgiven, if not forgot, as our beacon's gleam shines on Camelot. When we move on from breakfast, I have a hunch, we'll be eating the whole Ivy League for lunch. And by the time we get to dinner, we'll have become the all-time winner of the academic Super Bowl, confirmed in poll after poll after poll, and from thence forever to be so rated, never ever, like Tom, to be deflated. So here's to what this motley crew has already done and is going to do in the way of supporting collaboration that will bring together every nation, so arising from our present dearth of hope, we bring rebirth to the earth. Thank you all, and here's to UMass Boston.
Good morning, everyone. That was awesome, Duncan. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back, students, alumni, faculty, staff, neighbors, and friends to this great university that we call the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome home. My name is Gina Capello, and I'm the Vice Chancellor for University Advancement. I'm delighted to welcome you to our 2015 Fall Convocation. A special shout out goes to our soon-to-be graduate class of 2016. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our newbies, our freshman class of 2019. Welcome to all of you. This morning's ceremony is significant for our university. It's a rebirth, a new beginning for this academic year, and I'm glad that you've joined us all. Ji-Hae Young, a senior, originally from Seoul, Korea, majoring in music here at UMass Boston, will now sing our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
That was beautiful, Ji-Hae. Thank you. Today's speaking program will commence with updates on our university from Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, Alan O'Connor, and from Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Winston Langley. Chancellor J. Keith Motley will then give his convocation address. 3 outstanding UMass Boston students have been selected to introduce these members of our administration. Please join me in welcoming the first of them to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you undergraduate student government president, Kathleen Elliott.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is difficult to believe that a new year has already begun. If this is your first semester with us, welcome. We are excited to have you here at UMass Boston. My name is Kathleen Elliott, and I am the undergraduate student body president here at this university. After speaking at the freshman investiture ceremony, it is finally sinking in that this is my 4th and final year here at UMass Boston. Where has the time gone? At a university offering so many opportunities, it is easy to lose track of the years. I have worked on campus, joined multiple student organizations, traveled around the world, and found supportive mentors in many of my professors. It is no wonder that it feels like just yesterday I was a freshman starting my journey as an undergrad. During my time here, I have watched our campus undergo the beginnings of a transformation. The UMass Boston 25-year master plan has only just begun, and we are starting to see the results. One of the leaders spearheading this project has been the Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, Ellen O'Connor. Since joining this university in 2004, she has been an active participant at UMass Boston. In addition to her work on the 25-year master plan, she has played an important role in multiple sectors of campus affairs, including budget and financial planning, environmental health and safety, human resources, and more. This does not even begin to scratch the surface of the work she has done here at this university. My time here has flown by, but thanks to the dedication and hard work of Ellen O'Connor, UMass Boston's time has just arrived. With that being said, please join me in giving a warm welcome to our Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance, Ellen O'Connor.
Good morning. Thank you, Kathleen, for that very kind introduction. It takes a village. It took all of UMass Boston to do this. I look forward to working with you on matters that I will touch upon this morning. Good morning, Dick Campbell, member of the Board of Trustees of the university. Good morning, Tricia Philippone, Executive Director of the UMass Building Authority. Good morning, Chancellor Motley. Good morning to all the distinguished guests, alumni, members of the faculty, staff, and our students. Let me extend a very warm welcome to our new deans, to our new faculty, and to our new students. It's a very exciting time to be here at UMass Boston. There is a great deal of momentum underway. To say we are on the move would be an understatement. Let me start today by acknowledging the commitment and contributions of so many in preparing the campus for this fall semester. Let me acknowledge and applaud the tremendous efforts carried out by the administration and finance departments and the entire campus administration. In doing so, I recognize the many areas that support this work: facilities management, campus services, master planning, staff from academic affairs, IT, enrollment management, the registrar, student affairs, athletics, government relations, and university advancement. A special thanks to the partnership of Quinn Graphics and Communications and Creative Services, as they have all been extremely helpful in preparing the campus. I am most appreciative of all this support, and I thank you. The Division of Administration and Finance is service-driven. We are responsible for many areas that provide support and service to you, whether you're a student, a faculty member, or a staff member. Some examples of these areas include human resources, emergency management, campus services, that's the bookstore, dining, printing, the bursar, controller, procurement, budget, facilities, environmental health and safety. I'll give you a sample of some of the things we did to get ready. We provided office space for 52 new full-time faculty members. We have 104 classrooms that were set and cleaned and painted and tested and broken stuff repaired. And we fixed up some of the technology. We reupholstered everything we could in Wheatley and Quinn. The campus center got a big shine. We've got new carpet, you can see it. We've got new laptops for the borrowing program. There's new event equipment, these voice-over IP conference phones and chairs and wireless speakers. And I hope you like the chairs you're sitting in today, because we just bought them. There's a new art installation to tell you about. Professor Eric Levine from the Liberal Arts Department has worked with our campus center staff to install a new exhibit in the food court. It's called Another Day. And this interactive multimedia exhibit highlights the sunrise in cities across the globe. Go check it out. It's a terrific exhibit. We've practiced building evacuation because your safety is our top priority. That's what we did to prepare for this fall. Now, we're also witnessing the wonderful physical progress on the campus. And even though there are other changes that I could talk about in A&F, I'm going to focus the remarks on the master plan and the construction efforts and the transportation help we're trying to provide. You see that we are making vast physical changes on the campus. I must report, we are in the middle, okay? We've gone from the beginning, but we're in the middle. And that we are plodding through the challenges in our daily travels to the campus. You know that last spring we opened the Integrated Sciences Complex. This building is for the whole campus community to enjoy. If you haven't been over there, please go over to the ISC. Have a cup of coffee, bring your lunch, see Dorchester Bay. It's beautiful. There's an outdoor area that we'll have the student barbecue on. We're trying to entice you over to see how gorgeous that side of campus is. A new academic building that most of us had been calling JB1, we are now calling University Hall. I am sure you will agree that this building has really begun to take shape, and it makes a terrific statement and beautifully reflects the type of activities that will be happening in this building. University Hall is scheduled to open for the spring semester, and it will open for the spring semester. There will be nearly 2,000 seats in general purpose classrooms. Our goal is to have every student have at least one class in the new buildings on campus. University Hall will also have chemistry teaching labs, a performing arts, and art studios, a recital hall, a 500-seat auditorium, a dining hall. You can see a model of the building on the second floor here. The building is spectacular. It's shaped like a triangle, and it has a lot of fronts, just like the ISC. We didn't want too many backs to our buildings. Everything is a front so that you can approach it from any direction. Now I've got to talk about the utility corridor and road relocation project, and it certainly is the one that's having the most impact on our daily lives. This project is moving along, and we are making significant progress. It is exciting to report that one of the top priorities was to get utilities to University Hall, right, because we want heat and light and electricity and water and all that stuff, and that the utility corridor project is what's delivering that heat and light and water and electricity, and that we're meeting the milestones to allow the building to open with heat and light and electricity and water. Anyway, you know that we are moving the utilities from underneath the garage, under the plaza, to these corridors along the perimeter. And that once that's done, we will have a road on top that will have a two-way street. It will have bike paths on either side of the street. It'll have trees. It will start to really beautify and make this more of a walking campus, which is what one of our goals is. It also will help us make better connections with the neighborhood, another goal. We want to be better connected, not hiding behind these 25-foot brick walls. I'm going to whisper this. This project is scheduled to be completed in late 2017. We're doing this side, then we'll do north, west. Okay. Now let me talk about a project that is done, and that is the new and improved Harbor Walk. Please take advantage in this glorious weather. Go for a walk, go for a jog, take a bike ride to this wonderful section connecting the JFK Library and Harbor Point Apartments. Start that walking program you've been promising yourself to do. There are volunteers, many people around here who will help you. Finally, over the summer, UMass Boston and BC High joined in a partnership to build some baseball fields. 2 Division III NCAA baseball fields will be built on BC High property through a partnership in which we will contribute some funds. It will be ready for spring baseball this coming spring. The fields, if in case you hadn't heard, one will be like Fenway Park. It'll have a green monster, and there'll be fences and lights and bullpens and a warning track and batter's cage and all this other stuff that Charlie can describe better than me. The second field will be suitable for practice and sub-varsity games, and there'll be a full-size soccer field within the secondary baseball field. This will be the new home field for the UMass Boston Beacons baseball teams. I give a special thanks to you, Charlie, Vice Chancellor Charlie Titus, for your work to make this project a reality. Now on to 3 exciting projects that are in the planning stages that most people in the audience will immediately benefit from. The first is a project called REAB, R-E-A-B, Renovating Existing Academic Buildings. $75 million of upgrades will be put into the Wheatley and McCormick halls. This will improve the experience of faculty, staff, and students who spend time in these buildings, and it will improve the functionality and efficiency of the space. We'll begin construction in 2017. It will take about 2 years to complete. It will involve disruption and moves for the tenants, and I thank you in advance for your patience. Now let me talk to you about work to establish residential housing on the campus. Yes, work is proceeding on the first residential housing building on our campus. This project, which will be financed using a public-private partnership, is currently in preliminary program and design and will provide 1,000 beds for freshmen. The residence hall is scheduled to open in the fall of 2018. We'll be communicating more to the campus on this. Now on to the parking garage. I am very happy to tell you that work is underway to build a 1,400-car parking garage on the campus. With the support of the Building Authority, we have identified funding and the approvals are in place. An internal process is underway to select the site of the first parking garage. The owner's project manager has been chosen. We are working with the Building Authority to select the design firm, and the new garage will open in late 2018. I have no doubt that this news is met with great support. We will still be using the Bayside. This garage is only to replace the spots that have been lost on the campus, so we will still be using the Bayside. Another welcome project that is underway within the next few months is the replacement of elevators in Wheatley, McCormick, Quinn, and Clark. This $1.4 million project will replace 14 elevators with high-quality equipment. It'll be underway in 2016. It'll take a year. The construction schedule is not firmed up, but I tell you that the Wheatley elevators will be the first to be replaced. I think we all appreciate these upgrades. Now let me talk about transportation. Yes, the utility corridor road relocation project has resulted in disruptions to our lives. We recognize that we have added a half an hour to everyone's day. Please know that we are deeply grateful for your forbearance and sincerely apologize for the inconvenience that you are experiencing. It isn't as convenient as it has been in the past, but we are taking steps to make sure there is enough parking for everybody who wants to park, even as we beg you to take public transportation. We have agreements for satellite lots in addition to the Bayside on Morrissey Boulevard and Mount Vernon, and the reports show that since the start of the semester, that is the busiest time of our year, we have had spaces all day long. In addition to parking, we've studied our shuttle service and have increased the number of shuttle buses based on the demand. And there is a GPS system to track the shuttle buses. That's now operational, and you can get it downloaded. It's a UMass Boston app. We have hired more staff, improved the directional signing in the lots and on the campus. We have, along with enrollment management, put an information booth in the Clark Athletic Lobby, and we are trying our best to put a service face to the work that we are doing. The transportation services staff closely monitor the transportation daily, hourly. We keep a log of all the calls and emails and social media and complaints and respond to them. As of today, now this is not an invitation, okay? This is a report. As of today, we have received from the campus community 16 emails, and they were mostly inquiries, and about 12 social media comments, which is lower than last year. And I thank, again, our campus community for swinging into accepting the interim challenges. I know that your commute takes longer, and I am sorry for that impact on your daily life. I am thankful that you are sticking with us and appreciate all the support we have received. I have to extend a special thanks to the staff in parking and transportation and public safety for their outstanding service and support. Please know that we are committed to support you and the campus. We are working to minimize disruption from construction so that we can focus on the primary mission to serve students and maintain campus operations. There are things that you can do to help yourself. read the construction updates, look at the social media alerts, watch our YouTube and other videos, learn the detours, keep informed by paying close attention to our media, and download that app, that GPS app. That's what I wanted to say to you, because it really does work. You can see where the buses are and where they're coming. And the other, and I said this last year, and I don't mean to be school-marmish, but don't make choices that will frustrate you. In other words, don't drive to the campus after 8:30 looking for a parking space on the campus. Okay, please don't do that. There aren't any, okay? Hardly after 8 a.m. So don't make choices that will frustrate you. And that, and then consider other modes of transportation, if possible for you. Public transportation, walking or biking. Take the hubway to go from the JFK to the campus. Over these next few years, we are asking for your support. We ask that you set your expectations in consideration of the vast number of construction activities on the campus, and understanding at all times there will be impacts, but knowing that in the end, the result will provide wonderful benefits to all of us and UMass Boston. We're committed to supporting you and the success of UMass Boston. We strive for excellence and will continue our hard work to ensure that UMass Boston continues to be a great urban, public, student-centered research university. Just imagine UMass Boston and all that we have to look forward to as we work to rebuild and reinvent the physical campus. It's happening before our eyes. We're on the move, and we're all part of these exciting times. Welcome back. Thank you.
That was one full comprehensive report. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming graduate student Joey Wynn, who will now introduce Provost Langley.
How's everyone doing? Yeah? Food good? Getting sleepy? So good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joey Wynn. I was the former graduate student president, and I'm also an alum of the undergraduate class of 2013 and soon to be graduate class of 2015. But I'm no stranger of walking in 2016. So welcome. Faculty, staff, students, friends, and family. And I say family in the sense that everyone here at UMass Boston, whether they're here in this room or not, they're or out there, diligently making this university run, they're family to me. Over the 6 years at UMass Boston, I've bonded deeply with the people who drive this phenomenal university. I've made close friends and learned from mentors who are my personal heroes, and whom inspired me to one day come back to this very campus and work with them in my pursuit in higher ed. And one of those people particularly that I've admired over my time here is Provost Winston Langley. In fact, when I first heard him speak, he kind of reminded me of those commercials about the most interesting man in the world. He once had an awkward moment just to see how it feels. Aside from his smooth demeanor, the provost oversees the academic direction of this entire public research university. I've witnessed the provost make decisions that have moved our academics forward. He reminds us to stay true to our mission while the campus around us grows and changes. With his guidance and his vast wisdom, we will not lose sight of why we came here in the first place, so that every student, like myself, has a far better chance at being able to have a shot in changing the world. And there are very few people like him, and we are very lucky to have him. So now, please, give me help to have a big, warm welcome for our provost and vice chancellors of academic affairs, Dr. Winston Langley.
Thank you. Members of the board, distinguished guests, Chancellor Motley, Vice Chancellors, Deans and Chairs, colleagues from my own staff, the staff in general, our students, our faculty, centers and institutes. 50 years ago, the founding mothers and fathers of this university sought to create a public academic institution in this city, an institution the Chancellor frequently refers to as equal to the best. During the years between then and now, different groups of students, faculty, and staff have taken turns to realize the aim. My task today is a simple one. To what extent, during the past academic year, did we keep faith with those who found the university and those who have worked to help in the realization of the envisioned and coveted status? Allow me to say that I think we did well. Saying that we did well, however, is to engage in making a conclusory statement, as the lawyers will say. What or where is the evidence from which the statement is derived? It may be found in a gaze at the range and number and variety of new academic programs created, in the number and quality of new faculty recruited, in the new academic units established, in the new leaders we hired, in the number of students populating new programs, in the aggregate number of students attracted to pre-existing and new programs, in new approaches to pedagogy. One may say also in the advice and mentoring of our students, in the curricular and governance work of the faculty, and in many hours and programs of service that are extended to communities, local, national, and international. One may look at the number of graduates at all levels and the external recognition received from professional and other organizations that are concerned with some forms of assessment. As a research university, however, we're judged by the research we do. Very much so. As seen from the books, book chapters, articles, critical reviews that are published, translations done, scholarly editions completed, research in progress being pursued, workshops, conferences, proceedings participated in or conducted, papers delivered, manuscript reviews, plays, music, poetry composed, exhibitions done, citations received, awards conferred, grants and other funding won, library holdings secured. All of the preceding indications of doing well would mean little if they were not grounded on certain values of collaboration. Collaboration among Vice-Chancellor areas, amongst deans, amongst chairs, institute directors, industry, non-governmental organizations, governmental organizations, other research universities, local, national, and global. As well, the values of diversity and inclusion, civic engagement, social justice, sustainability, and human security, and the belief in the infinite possibilities that reside within each of us. Neither would the indications of having done well matter much were they not part of training leaders who embody respect for the special presence and power of each person, who recognize that there is no single variety for society to observe, that there are tendencies and patterns around which cultural differences and variations may accommodatingly cluster, and who see through some of the glossy surfaces of what we have come to call modern civilizations to its underlying intellectual and moral weakness, amply manifested in the presence of certain central challenges we face: increasing poverty and social privation, the ever-present presence of weapons of mass destruction, people fleeing into many trans-border movements throughout the world, the difficult circumstances human communities face in relationship to the natural world. These students are tomorrow's leaders, whose lives we hope will be defined by the shared meaning they will give or help give to human experiences. Human life, by its very nature, has to be devoted to something. An enterprise that is glorious or humble, a pursuit that may be illustrious or seemingly trivial. We hope that the work of the last year contributed to some insights into something to which our students, our staff, our faculty can be devoted. And may all of us have a long and abiding devotion to this, our public university, by virtue of the values it embraces. Welcome back, and thank you.
Thank you, Provost. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Student Trustee Nolan O'Brien, who has the honor of introducing Chancellor Motley.
Good morning. So I think about now I am the 6th or 7th person to say good morning and welcome back, but I will do that. So good morning and welcome back to students, faculty, staff, friends, administrators. I want to say a special welcome to my fellow board member, Dick Campbell, who I've worked with for 3 years now, and so thank you for being here this morning. My name is Nolan O'Brien, and I am a senior studying political science, also serving as UMass Boston student trustee. This being my 3rd term as student trustee, it is also my third time standing before you all to start a new academic year and to welcome you to introduce a very special person on this campus. When I first stood on this stage 3 years ago, there were no mountains of dirt behind me or pastures of bright orange traffic cones. There was still a ring road around the campus, and yes, there was plenty of parking. But the ISC was still metal struts, The new academic building was just a shovel in the ground, and we were still 2 years away from imagining what the EMK would actually look like and what it would do. Now in the fall of 2015, we have faculty and students conducting important research in the new integrated sciences complex. We're getting ready to open up a lot of new classroom and study space in the new academic building next door, and we are already benefiting from a great partnership with the recently opened, by President Obama, I might add, Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate. These rapid changes and rewarding changes are due in large part to the visionary leadership of someone I am proud and grateful to call my friend and mentor, Chancellor Motley. Yesterday, the Chancellor told the visiting UMass Board of Trustees that he was glad that their shoes would be caked with mud and their suits powdered with dust, because all of this dirt and dust serves as a physical reminder of the reach and the great work being done on this peninsula. This past summer, I had the opportunity to intern with U.S. Senator Ed Markey down in Washington, D.C., as part of a collaboration between this campus and the EMK. On my first full day in our nation's capital, who do I bump into walking down the street but our very own Chancellor Motley, who claimed he was just checking up on me. That is our reach. UMass Boston is growing and on the move, and our dauntless Chancellor, in his 8th year in that role, is shepherding that growth in our city and our country at large and around the world. He's ensuring that our campus community is benefiting from these growth spurts every day and for generations to come. So now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has earned his spot on the Boston Business Journal's Power 50 list for the past 4 years, UMass Boston's Chancellor, J. Keith Motley.
So, good morning, everybody. Someone said that you were sleeping in here. I don't believe that. There's no way to sleep. They're a little impatient because they have so much to do around the campus, and they know our students are missing them somewhere. But let me talk about Nolan. First of all, thank you, Nolan. Thank you for your unbelievable introduction, but most importantly, for representing us proudly as a trustee, not a student trustee, but as a trustee who happens to be one of our great students. It's great to have him back on campus after a summer in Washington, D.C., working in Senator Markey's office. And yes, I was down there hanging out in D.C. and ran into you and some other students right in front of the hotel I was staying at, doing work for this institution. Nolan's internship is just one of the examples of the incredible opportunities available to our students through programs such as the Young Leaders Network, which partners with the Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate. And he was such an example of excellence in D.C. that Senator Markey has asked him to come home here and work in his office right here in Boston. So yeah, he said he's been on the Board of Trustees for 3 years. But you know, he hung around because now he finally has the opportunity to vote. Now we know how unfair that is, that students all of the campus can vote, but it's our turn to vote. And I know you're going to use it wisely. I know you're going to use it wisely. But if you would have saw his presentation yesterday at the board meeting, you would have been so proud of him, and I'm so grateful. I just wanted to make sure you all knew that. So thank you so much, Nolan. And speaking of the board meeting yesterday, thank you for what could have been a disruption because of all the parking and the fact that we had board members swooping all around campus. And what they found is who you are. They found an unbelievable, comprehensive institution of learning that has a myriad of thought, a myriad of opportunity for not just those students who engage here, but this community. And I hope that Mr. Goodkind, Tom Goodkind, and also that Professor Kimmer here, and also our student who spoke at the Board of Trustees meeting yesterday. Is Tom here anywhere? Tom, stand up. Where's Professor Kim? Is she here? And the nursing student, is she here? One of the most incredible things for me as chancellor is to sit in these board meetings, and I have heard people come to bring issues, and they bring these issues in ways that by the time they finish speaking, sometimes I don't even understand what it was they were talking about. The representatives from this campus community always come forward in a professional manner. They do it in a way that helps all of us, even chancellors, who before this president used to have to sit like potted plants at meetings. Sorry, trustee, you know that. Yeah, right, you're a trustee, I understand. But now, having a president who includes his chancellors in his decisions is an amazing thing. So I'm so grateful to those individuals. And our students stood up from our College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and she just turned the place out and said, thank you, and sat down. But it was so impactful because this is the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and that is who we are, and that's what we do. So I want to welcome our Board of Trustees member. You are a fierce supporter of this campus. You grew up here. You taught me how to love it even deeper through your passion, Dick Campbell. Thank you. Thank you for always fighting for us and for showing up. That's half the battle. Yesterday, for the first time, we had more trustees at the meeting than we had University of Massachusetts Boston representatives. Now, some people would say, Chancellor, why do you want them to show up? Because lots of times when people show up, they end up giving you more work. I love it when they show up, because when they show up, we can show off. When they show up, we can complete the story. And yesterday, we had an opportunity to tell our story from soup to nuts. And I'm so grateful for that. And so you're going to hear from Trustee Jeff Mullen today. He's going to be the speaker after I'm done. And we're so pleased that he's going to serve as our keynote speaker today. And I also want to welcome all of the other distinguished guests. Every one of you is a distinguished guest here. To our vice chancellors that are here, that I don't get a chance to thank so much publicly, thank you. You always step up, you always step out. To our faculty, our staff, our deans, thank you. I am so grateful to you. You heard from the most interesting man in the world, who's had an awkward moment just so he could see how it feels. Our Provost, Winston Langley. You heard from our Vice Chancellor, Ellen O'Connor, who's allowed me to blame her for everything that's gone wrong on this campus. And takes it like the wonderful human being that she is. You heard from Vice Chancellor Gina Capello, give her a hug this week. She lost her mama. That's a deep thing. Give her a hug when you see her. Joey, man, every time I see you, even with the bow tie today to connect to the provost, he's been around here as one of our students. I'm so grateful to him for demonstrating to our undergraduate students just what it means to be someone who has just been on this fascinating journey. We don't want to let you loose. We know we do at some point have to do that. But thank you for coming this morning. Kathleen Elliott, our undergraduate student leader, right? She told me she was leaving after being here for 3 months. Now she's been to Japan. She's seen you in the hallway when she was looking sad and you hugged her. She's been involved with student government. She's on her way to South Africa. She's going to graduate. She loves this place. She's one of the biggest ambassadors for this place. Don't tell me what you're doing doesn't matter. Don't tell me that the legacy that you created here doesn't matter. We have a poet laureate that's been around here longer than some of us have been alive, or that we want to admit. I have to tell him, don't get up on the table. And then I have to bring his wife to make sure, because he won't listen to me, because to him, I'm a young boy. Who you talking to? I've seen chancellors come and go. Well, I've been around a long time. It's going on 13 years now, Mr. Poet Laureate. And when I came back, I told y'all I was home. Some of you didn't believe it, because you're used to seeing stuff that doesn't want to be with you. I choose to be with you. I made that choice a long time ago. Also, I want to say to our new president, thank you. Thank you for doing that job so I didn't have to do it. And I'm being very serious about that, because this is someone I trust enough with this university system to allow us to continue to be who we are and not to get in the way of that. This president chose to visit our campus on day one. He went into office 12/00/01 and showed up to his office and came running over here, met with our students, and then had a fascinating experience here. His first board meeting was here on this campus. And he didn't just hold it in the morning, he held it all day. I was getting tired sitting there listening to all that and having to talk 10 times knowing I had to talk today. So as an alum of this institution and as a former chancellor of the University of Massachusetts Lowell, Marty Meehan gets it. He understands on a personal level the exciting opportunities that await our students, our faculty, our staff, and our administration. He has stood up and he's standing up for this campus, so we will let him off the hook today for not being here. Because, you know, sometimes I don't let folk off the hook when they don't show up, because I want them to see you. So given that we do our work here in the intellectual engine in the great capital city of this Commonwealth, I also want to go on record of thanking our great mayor, Marty Walsh, even though he's not here today. I hope we're going to make sure we link to his link so he can hear that we thanked him. That's important because he grew up looking over at this campus, and his daddy was part of building this campus. And so he understands it. And all those city councilors and that leadership and the support and actions that they do on behalf of this community, I want to thank them all. Patricia Philippone from our University of Massachusetts Building Authority. That's another person you could blame for the mud on your shoes I told you was coming, that half of you told me wasn't going to happen because you've seen chancellors come and go, and man, they haven't had a building here in 40 years. So now that we've got them, and you said we didn't have them, what we hear is, man, you're doing too much. You're going to keep saying that because we are not stopping now. I understand our human resource is our most precious resource, but I don't want our human resource living and working in conditions that they should not be working in. And as someone who was an outsider who you've accepted as an insider, that's the first thing I saw when I came here. The other adjustment was in our attitude about us. You've always been great. You just allowed me to talk about it now. So I'm so grateful for that. So all those senators out here and representatives in state government, to our governor, Governor Baker, thank you. To the people that work in our university system, We appreciate their commitment to public higher education in Massachusetts, and I look forward to working with them. Secretary of Education Pizer is on our board. Commissioner of Higher Education's Carlos Santiago, former president of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. One of our sister institutions in urban serving institutions in the country. He understands it. And chairman of the Board of Higher Education, Chris Gabriel. We're working to build upon the great partnerships we've shared with the previous administration. Some folks said, Chancellor, what you gonna do? Your boy's not governor anymore. Anybody who's sitting up there at the State House becomes my new boy. See, sometimes I don't tell you about how long they have been my boy. And so now we treat everyone like they're supposed to be treated. If you're governor, we treat you like governor. But we expect you to govern with a fair hand and understand that you have a jewel in this capital city that have been neglected for so long, that we are coming from minus 500 to zero when they think that we've moved up to 500 already. You all are making up for what had happened along the way. That's what you're seeing going up all around you. And so I want to thank Deval Patrick. I know right now that's kind of tough because we have new administration and all that, but lots of what you see is because we had a governor like Governor Patrick. And when they're your friends in or out of office, in good times or in bad times. And so he's a friend of this institution. This chair that we're dedicating to him in social, political, and economic innovation, we did it this past June with Gina's help, who's helping here, making fundraising just a game on this campus that's taken to a higher level. Gina Capello and her team, thank you for that. I also want to thank Allie and all those folk who've been up the last few weeks preparing for all of this, preparing for me, because they never want me to feel, and I love all of you for this, that when we have an invasion on our campus of all these wonderful people, that what we're doing doesn't take second place. So they knew this was important as well. So thanks for being up, making this happen. So I always talk about my beautiful wife, Angela. So one time someone told me, Chancellor, I'm tired of you talking about your beautiful wife. See, they don't know their playbook. I don't care how tired you get. What you should know is that beauty is inside and outside. She saves you from the wrath of James. That's why I went to J. Keith Motley instead of James. She has told me that I had a nice shaped head and that my hairline was going back to my neck and it was okay. She told me, when many of you all say, hey, Chancellor, man, what's up, man? You know, you sort of getting old or something. She's told me that she fired me and she hired a landscaper. Then my daughter told me what she wanted to tell me all her life. Daddy, you know, that new dude, he's actually putting the mulch all the way against the tree. He's actually edging the grass. Because one of the things that you know we try to do at this university, which is why I love you, when I came here with young kids, you sent me home to them instead of expecting me to be at everything you did. And so now she's fired me from all that hard work so that we can focus on doing what we're doing here. So I'm so grateful to that beautiful woman for that. Thank you for that. She's the one that fell in love with this place first. She came here and earned her MBA. I'm that dude who the police used to run off of the, before cell phones, you know, they used to run me off the road because I used to park illegally over by Quinn, like y'all used to do. And the police here would run me off. And then one day I showed up and I was the new vice chancellor, in charge of the police. And I went to their first union meeting. And they were like, oops, aren't you that dude? I said, yes, I am. But the difference between the old dudes and the new dudes that you deal with is I understood I was messing up. And I was hoping not to get caught. But since you caught me, it's a fair one. I moved. And I didn't hold no grudges against you that I'm going to tell you about. So as many of you know, this has been a year of celebration. We've been celebrating this 50th anniversary, this golden anniversary, like we've been doing it for 2 years or something. We've been celebrating because this student-centered urban public research university of the Commonwealth's great capital city, the University of Massachusetts, Boston, deserves that. This has not only been an opportunity for celebration, it's also an opportunity for reflection. See, these past 50 years have seen tremendous accomplishment by so many of you in this room. Even during periods of great struggle and uncertainty, much of which you can find chronicled in this shameless plug, this book right here. It's available online, in the bookstore, or go get one of your deans to get it for you or something. But read this book. It captures things that some of us have forgotten about. It's called UMass Boston at 50. We celebrate the stewardship of our vision despite myriad obstacles, and we tell the truth in that book. Today, our reflection should not focus only on the past. We're going to look forward to the next 50 years, envisioning the continuous rise in the trajectory for a university that has gained an even larger role in contributing to the advancement of knowledge around the world. Little UMass Boston, the grown University of Massachusetts Boston, started out here on this peninsula, contributing to knowledge all around the world. Our story is one of humble beginnings. However, it was fueled by audacious vision. And so the story begins as reported in the Boston Globe in 1964 with Audrey Taub, and she was from Everett. Now, Audrey had the distinction of being the first student accepted to the new University of Massachusetts Boston at a time when no one, even she, did not know where it would be located. She said yes. She was number one. Nevertheless, Nolan, Audrey paid $100 a semester tuition. She showed up, but she was able to parlay that $100 into 2 master's degrees and a career as a systems engineer with MITRE Corporation. Like those with the founding vision of this institution, we must never underestimate the determination and the resolve of our students. You saw it today. Walk around and just bathe yourself in it every opportunity you get so you can feel it. It energizes you. Understand that regardless of their socioeconomic backgrounds or their personal histories, our students always seek opportunities for intellectual and social development. And at our university, your university here in Boston, they earn the opportunity to become great contributors to their local and their global community. Despite our humble beginnings, when we opened our classes 50 years ago last week, it was 50 years ago last week, we had to move this because of the board meeting. Or I'd be saying 50 years ago today, because that was the plan. We were down in Park Square, and the founding chancellor, John Ryan, declared that we would build a university that is equal to the best. Now, I know that's a tall order for any institution. That's why you brought in a tall chancellor for your institution. But you know, it's really a tall order for one in a great institutional city, one where higher education institutions of excellence are on every corner. That's a tall order for an institution like this. But Chancellor Ryan, his declaration revealed an audacious vision for this institution. Why shouldn't we have one now? I get it. See, I have the luxury of having who you are in the light and who you are in the dark are two different people. Let me tell you what that means. See, some I see in the light, but then in the dark I get emails. Chancellor, you know I was talking about how terrible the road is, but guess what? I'm glad the roads are jacked up because I see the big picture. Chancellor, I ran into a student today, and that student was from my hometown. And I was able to have that student talk to one of my children. And that student has helped transfer some knowledge to that young person that's helped them move on. That's an amazing thing. What we've been celebrating for the past year is this university, the University of Massachusetts, Boston, Anita, and our progress toward making that founding vision a reality, our amazing first 50 years of accomplishment despite long odds. Now, I don't mean to dwell excessively long on that and all that old stuff, but I think it's important that we understand the opening chapters of our story so that we can begin to outline our next 50 years. See, I'm tired of talking about we were made on a dump. I'm tired of talking about how ugly we were. The first 50 years revealed this university fending off various forms of isolation, so let's just tell the truth today. Our institution was wanting. It was wanting in facilities, financial resources, programmatic resources, and public support for our classification as a first-rate institution of higher education. Somebody, including folk like myself, were trying to regulate this institution to mediocrity. For example, even before the founding of this university, look it up in this history, neighboring private institutions, and even one of our predecessor institutions, sorry, Winston, Boston State College, they worked to block your existence. They worked to block the enabling legislation, fearing competition from a great public university like this one. Don't you know that's what fuels it even today? Don't you know that people are feeling you like the young people say? They're feeling you. And I don't mean that in some kind of exotic, neurotic, crazy kind of way. They know you're coming. They hear your 17-size shoe footsteps. And guess what? We're going to make them louder and louder and louder and louder. When we first opened for classes 50 years ago, they were held in a partially renovated Boston Gas building where both construction and learning occurred at the same time. Did you hear what I said? They were in a building where construction and learning was happening at the same time. Sound familiar? This is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. You're thinking about it here and someone's thinking about it in Korea. You think you're only doing it here and someone's doing it somewhere else. Took 10 years to locate this space and to build our campus community. I want to thank whoever thought they could put a fan up here and it would help. That's an amazing thing, but I'm going to still go to my trusty napkin, that I carry around. Sorry, Sodexo, I have taken quite a few of these home with me because they work better than handkerchiefs, particularly when you have such a wonderfully pelted dome. Thank you, sweetie. As one of our great founders, the Attorney General and Speaker of the House, Robert Quinn, would remind us and remind me, this place was built on what he grew up calling Mile Road Dump. It wasn't Morrissey Boulevard. Look at how far we've come. Now, I'm trying not to have to say that over and over again, but I'll do it every time a trustee comes here, not this one, but others, so they understand the distance between what that was and where we are today, and everything it took in between to make that happen. And that it's not about just those folk who happen to be around today. It's about those who made a sacrifice. They finally had a new campus after all that, 10 years of trying to figure it out. It came riddled down with design and construction flaws, as you know. You've lived it. You've read about it. There was this thing they used to call the garage. When we came over to visit from other institutions, none of us parked down there. We thought we'd get lost. I know it's not funny, but we thought it was a joke. But here we are today. The university experienced programmatic isolation. Do you know they systemically would not allow you to have disciplines that made sense for the students that you served? Do you know that? So when you start talking about why are they all of a sudden trying to get programs, we're trying to get the things that our students deserve and they need. So we're making up. Critical areas of study was resisted by other universities and even our sister campuses. That's why it's so refreshing for me to sit with 4 other chancellors who get it, who are part of a circle that understand when it's their turn. And it's our turn now. Do you know, if you read this history as I've read it, that there was a sentiment tolerated in this Commonwealth that our students didn't need certain programs, that they could go elsewhere for a program of choice. Why do they have to stay out there? For example, it took, as much as some folk talk about the Boston Globe, okay? It took a Boston Globe expose to help us overcome the obstacles standing in the way of establishing our own nursing program, which is now in place and nationally ranked. Every time I'm at a national president's meeting, I argue with Father Leahy from Boston College and whoever Yale's president is, because they usually talk to you from, what do they call that, the opera? When you go to the opera, where do you sit when you're there and everyone else is down here? Yeah, up there, okay? So whoever Yale's president is, we argue about who's number 1 in nursing. Till just a few years ago, they wouldn't let us have engineering. I'm arguing in front of Richard Freeland. And the argument wasn't whether we should have it or not. The argument was how long we had been doing it. I was trying to give them a pass. I said, well, we've been trying to do this since 1990. So we're almost done, and I'm ready to walk out the room thinking we have the votes. And he says, no, we've been trying to do it since 1970-something. I'm like, whoa. That is deep. The resistance and the obstacles we faced mirrored low expectations in many circles. The low expectations that lots of folk had for our students. And guess what, y'all? That they had for us. So do you understand why it's so important that we can't allow that to trickle into what we tried to do? Because it's not just them. It's you too. It's me too. Low expectations. If I tell you you're jacked up long enough, you may not believe it, but you'll act like it. So you relegate yourself to this circle and you'll stay in it. So indeed, the realm of public sentiment, the idea of an urban public university, seemed to conflict with the audacious vision that guided our university. So nevertheless, here we are today. We at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, have overcome physical, programming, scholarly, and perceptual isolation to be included among the best. Given the obstacles and exclusion we've had to overcome in the first 50 years, we have reasons to scream and pull out our hair. That's what happened to me, baby. I was screaming and pulling out my hair. But now, we done shaved it up, put on some shaving cream, put on a new University of Massachusetts Boston tie, and we're going to work. So we celebrate now. We throw galas, we write books, we parade joyfully through the Boston Commons. We go outdoors at the State House that haven't been open in 200 years because we got that kind of swagger at the University of Massachusetts Boston. And we've celebrated our 50th anniversary this past year alone, and it marked incredible physical progress, including the opening of the Integrated Science Center, which I know you've heard about over and over again, but it hugs you when you come on campus purposely. We designed it and put it there to say, hello, come on in. That complex is a fresh face for this university. Yes, it's symbolic, and it's purposely symbolic. It's a message to everybody who rides up and down that expressway and gets caught up in that 5 o'clock traffic. And yes, if they ask you, we blocked the vision to the Kennedy Library. Because when you get around the corner, we wanted you to see what we were doing too. Because you have been neglected too long. Your talent has not been talked about for so long. We become the University of Massachusetts Boston, and the newest and largest public research facility in this area is right here on your campus. The dedication and opening of the Edward M. Kennedy Institute. Why are we doing that, Chancellor? Who else can boast of the sitting president, his wife, and his vice president who blocked traffic for 5 hours because he couldn't leave? Because they were so stunned that the university that he received an honorary degree from, that he has welcomed into the White House and into his home on the Vineyard, and into public policy discussions nationally and internationally, was doing something like that for one of his mentors. So he promised he showed up, and he showed up. And because of that, everywhere we go in the world, people talk about this university. So those interested, as Nolan talked about, in becoming more civically engaged and educated, come through that Edward M. Kennedy Institute. It attracts teachers and learners from around the world. The construction of now what's called University Hall, formerly known by you all as GAB1 or something. See, I just go around trying to get it, and I let you all figure out what to do with it. We're landlocked, Chancellor, so we get the Bayside. Chancellor, what should we do with it? You figure that out. That's what a community is about. And I will advocate for that. When it opens in 2016, and it will open, spectacular. One of the trustees had the nerve to say to me yesterday, is that copper on the side of the building? You know there's a market for that. Y'all gonna put cops up there? I said, you know something? The refreshing thing about being here is that people look out for each other. And I have never felt unsafe out on this campus. And we may have someone that does something stupid, but guess what they did? They came here to do that. They sort of figured that out and tried to come out here. And when James and them get on them, and Chief Boehner and them get on them, and you get on them, they know better than that. We don't worry about bricks through the window. That's why we put up all this glass. But I am a little worried about that copper, though. I was thinking about taking some myself. So, is it really copper? Oh, it's real copper. I just told the story this morning that it wasn't. And somewhere where I was talking this morning, I said, oh, no, it's not copper. It's an integration between arts and sciences, so, it's some kind of alloy of something. Don't worry, it's not copper. What a tale, huh? I can't tell that story, though. I'm not going to tell that one out there. Wow. I don't know if I trust that enough. So the progress on this very mundane-sounding utility corridor and this roadway that Ellen talked about, that shouldn't be our responsibility. But we're out here as neighbors on this peninsula. But instead of worrying about the fact that, this was about public safety, Remember when we all got locked out here? When the governor let folk out and the mayor let people out and nobody could go anywhere from the peninsula? Well, we decided to try to do something about it. And we told our neighbors that we were, but they didn't want to kick in any dough. But guess what happened? Your governors, this one and the last one, came together with some funds that are helping to make that happen. Now, we're not going out telling folk that because we're trying to get as many dollars from them as we can. But at the end of the day, this will be a safer, more beautiful, wonderful place, and the pedestrian and bike-friendly and ease of traffic is going to blow your mind. So the completion of that 800-foot section of the Harbor Walk, you can go all the way out to Castle Island. Baby, I heard there are like clams and stuff out there. I don't eat fried food. I don't. Every time they see me, I have fruit and tea. But I heard there's clams out there in Castle Island. If you take your car out there, your bike, and there's an ice cream joint out there as well. Enjoy yourselves when you go out. So I appreciate your ongoing patience with our campus transformation and understanding that these short-term inconveniences are critical to our long-term goals to better learn, teach, and grow together as one university community. Your patience, your hard work have made this peninsula a destination point in one of the greatest tourist cities in the world. So when I told you when I came back home to campus that we were going to get some mud on our shoes. Some of you, as I mentioned, didn't believe me, but here we are today, splash around in it, because there rises enhanced teaching and learning spaces, a campus that's going to be more open to all. So let's take another example. One is our Center for Personalized Cancer Therapy They opened a genomics core facility inside its laboratory, genomics core facility inside its laboratory in the new integrated science complex. Last night I was talking to some people from Dana-Farber, and that facility will help investigators and clinicians analyze samples and identify contributions to disease risk, and reveal complex mechanisms. We continue to broaden our research and our academic enterprise in so many other ways. The McCormick Graduate School now offers 2 new tracks in the Master of Public Administration program. Now the university is moving their system offices from 225 Franklin Street to 1 Beacon Street. And there are going to be 4 classrooms downstairs. What an opportunity. The College of Management, already offering nationally ranked programs, has introduced the Professional MBA, offering students the opportunity to compete and complete their MBA over 16 months by taking courses on Saturday and online. We approved a whole lot of new doctoral and master's programs during 2014 and 2015. Remember, I told you, we're making up for some things we haven't had here. A PhD in applied physics, PhD in early childhood and education and care, a PhD and an MPA in Global Comparative Public Administration, an EDD and PhD in Leadership in Urban Schools, an MS in Urban Planning and Community Development, just to name a few. The College of Liberal Arts introduced a new interdisciplinary minor in Human Rights in the Department of Women and Gender Studies. The quality and reputation of our programs has continued to improve. U.S. News and World Report. I know I have some challenges with that, but lots of people read it. And I read it when they say we're rated. Rated our university 31st in the nation for ethnic diversity. Our nursing rehabilitation, counseling, and public policy and graduate education programs also were ranked among the top 100 listings. Our MBA program is ranked number 41 in North America. One of the best places to learn for veterans. Yesterday, we hosted veterans on our campus. It was an amazing thing to see. Our Venture Development Center was named a game changer by Boston Globe and has been featured in Science magazine. The University of Massachusetts Boston as a whole was recently rated among the best in the Northeast by the Princeton Review. Since 1980, we've also enjoyed continuous funding from the United States Department of Education to operate our TRIO student support services. We were recently awarded a $2.1 million grant over 5 years to continue this work, which helps increase good academic standing, retention, and graduation rates among students, and fosters a climate to support success. So indeed, we've made some considerable headway since our early days of programmatic isolation. As is always the case, our progress rides on the back of people who work to make it happen, and that is you. So in respect, we owe a debt of gratitude to the dedicated staff who make sure our university home remains a welcoming and a stimulating learning environment for all who study, all who work, and all who visit in our midst, as our board did yesterday. Each year, I recognize individuals who've been integral to the success in the operation of this university with the Chancellor's Achievement Awards. Thank you to this year's winners, Kareem Wade from Central Graphics, who you all use, and also to Mary Simone from Information Technology, EdTech, and Learning Commons for their unwavering commitment to our university community. Are they here today? Stand up so I can see you. While I have this moment, it's often I have the chance to reflect on the excellence of our staff. So there's someone special I want to talk about. This person has been a teaching adjunct on this campus for a long time and currently teaches in our honors college. Every year without fail, she invites me to come and visit her class. Now, while this person is a giant, you still might easily overlook her. But she can never be missed if you spend any quality time on this campus or are in need of assistance. She is virtually everywhere. If you need to park or get on the shuttle, when you need something to eat, when you need a room in the campus center, if you need to buy books, when you tour the harbor on a boat, if you need something printed professionally, when you want something recycled, any of these services, we come in contact with this person during the course of our work on campus has been imprinted for us by this Assistant Vice Chancellor for Campus Services, Diane Dorigo. Where are you at, Diane? Stand up so we can see you. And even with all this on her plate, she's nonetheless someone who's always looking to take care of your chancellor. I barely walk into an event before I hear, Chancellor, Can I get you something? Do you want some more lemon tea? Well, I've had 10 glasses of lemon tea today, but thank you, I'll take the tea. Do you have enough fruits? You know Angela wouldn't want you eating nothing else. I know you see the fried chicken over there and the eggplant and all that, but she wants you to eat the fruit. I know there's others on campus that have had that experience that I've had, but I try to recognize someone every year who in my journey just stands out to me. Her care and her concern for all of us makes it a joy to be around, and I want to thank you, Diane, for your thoughtful, joyous spirit and your love for this university. It comes out every time I just see you talking to parents. Now, believe it or not, I just might make that class you've been inviting me to come to for 10 years. And so I'm grateful to you. Thank you. I'm also aware that the progress that this university has experienced would not be possible without the outstanding work of our esteemed faculty. Whether you've been a part of our faculty for decades or you're just beginning your journey with us this fall, we have you to thank for the students we attract, the rankings that we climb, and as I told our newest faculty when I busted into their meeting during welcome reception earlier this month, you put the soul in our teaching soul at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. This year, we're welcoming 43 new faculty members for the first time. Let us greet them with a warm round of applause. If you're here, stand up so we can see you. New faculty in the room. We also congratulate 26 faculty members who received tenure this year, also deserving of our praise. Stand up if you received tenure this year and you're here. They're up on the wall so you can see them. 3 faculty members have been promoted to full professor: Christopher Zern, Richard Fleming, and also Edward Miller. If you're here, stand up so we can see you. I'm also pleased to welcome our new dean of the McCormick Graduate School, David Cash. He's here today. Is our new Vice Provost for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer, Bob Weir, here? Bob is someone who I've known a long time. We go back to that other place together that I can't mention over here that's on Huntington Avenue. I didn't even know he was applying for a job here because I knew quality people wanted to be here. So I stay out of that. But I'm so glad we made the right choice. We're also very fortunate that we have a strong research enterprise, which is growing stronger every year in order to meet the widespread interest and ravenous study habits of our fabulous students. They want to study, despite a difficult external funding environment. One I have to hear about from the medical school and from our flagship campus and everybody else whining about what's happening in Washington, D.C. Well, you all have been understanding how to get through all that for a long time. You take the lemons and make lemon meringue pie out of it. So you did that to the tune of $63.2 million in fiscal year 2015, 5.2% more than we did in the year before. I want to recognize just a few individuals who are here today that continue to help us to grow. Associate Professor of Conflict Resolution and Human Security and Global Governance, Maria Ivanova, was honored as one of 32 inaugural 2015 Andrew Carnegie, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Carnegie name is like gold. Andrew Carnegie Fellows by the Carnegie Corporation of New York. Is Maria here or is she out working somewhere? She's out working. An Institute for Asian American Studies Director and dear friend Paul Watanabe was sworn in as a member of the Presidential Advisory Commission on Asian American and Pacific American Islanders after being nominated by our great president, President Obama. Is Paul here today? Paul, thank you. Professor of Management Systems Jeffrey Kiesler was awarded a Fulbright Award, one that distinguishes him because only 40 people in the world are chosen for this. He's the first from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, to be chosen, and we're so proud of him. Thank you so much for representing us. Last May at commencement, we honored 3 faculty members who impacted our university community profoundly. Professor Rhodes of our Department of Psychology, Professor Eric Blazer of our Department of Psychology, again, for the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Teaching, and also Professor William Robinson of our School for the Environment received the Chancellor's Award for Distinguished Service. Those folk are here. Stand up so we can recognize you as well. If they're not here and they're out teaching, they are going to be in front of you this fall because we asked them to always speak to you at our Distinguished Faculty Lecture during the fall semester. Yesterday, I received some terrific news. It's a pleasure to announce the establishment by one of our Board of Trustees, the Robert and Donna Manning Faculty Excellence Awards. Now, this wonderful act of philanthropy on the part of Trustee Manning and his wife will fund to a faculty member chosen by faculty an annual award of $10,000 to each University of Massachusetts campus to a faculty member that exhibits excellence in teaching. They will become part of a master teaching academy, and these gifts like this will reveal how profoundly the work of our faculty impacts students in our communities. I thank Trustee Manning and his beautiful wife for that. Congratulations to our entire body of faculty for all of your achievements. We look forward to your inspiring leadership in the month and years ahead. This semester marks the 50th anniversary of the first classes held at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. Our first class at the university was the class of '69, and it brought in 1,227 students from Greater Boston to Park Square and pursuing higher education opportunities like those we talked about earlier that were denied opportunities elsewhere, often based on stereotypes. Last week and today, 17,000 students arrived on this beautiful waterfront campus, empowered by the opportunity to earn a degree from Boston's only urban public research university. They hail from more than 150 countries around the world, representing a range of faiths, beliefs, social, ethnic, and family backgrounds. And they chose our academic institution. Above all others, they say yes to us. We were their first choice because they know the doors are open here. Our Honors College starts off this year with its largest freshman class ever, 200 students in that enrollment plus, an increase by 127% since its founding only 2 years ago. We've always had an honors program. We've always had honors students. But now we have an honors college to show them all off in. As you know, our graduate enrollment, and I'm so proud of this, to everyone who has anything to do with this, has topped 4,000 students for the first time in our history. That needs to be applauded. 4,000 students. And in a moment of vanity, I want to announce that the J. Keith Motley Scholarship has been awarded to Mr. Dang. Ling Dang has got that. He wanted to be here today, but again, he's out working. He's an incoming freshman that participated in one of our great pre-collegiate programs. See, I'm an upward bounder. I spent my high school career at the University of Pittsburgh every day. And I'm so grateful that this student took that pathway and he's here at this university. He matriculated here. He kept a 3.2 grade point average in high school. And he was nominated by somebody who's a member of the pre-collegiate program staff. He's a student that demonstrates the type of resiliency that we want in our students, despite the many obstacles that he faced. Each year, we recognize with the John W. Ryan Award, that first chancellor, the junior with the highest grade point average. And so, every time we give out one of these awards nowadays, you all tell me that, Chancellor, we can't pick. Or Chancellor, guess what? We have a challenge. there are 2 people that meet this criteria. And so this year, we have 2 John Ryan Award winners. It turns out, I'm pleased to announce that 2 juniors started this new academic year with a perfect 4.0 GPA. So we have them here today with us. Shane Hager, who's pursuing a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing, and Zachary John Sullivan, who's pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in Information Technology through the College of Management with a concentration in Systems Administration. Both Shane and Zachary enrolled at the University of Massachusetts, Boston during the fall of 2013. They maintained full-time status for 4 consecutive semesters. They've earned an A grade in every class. Shane, whose mother and uncle studied at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, tutors his classmates on campus and volunteers in the Hillside Humane Society and Unconditional Love Pet Rescue. He says he discovered a calling for helping others when an African missionary priest, Bishop Dennis, visited his church and changed his life at 11 years old. Shane's dedication to his studies has kept him away this morning. His clinical schedule conflicted with Convocation, but his mother, Karen, and his grandmother, Helen, are here. Stand up so we can see you. When Zach isn't studying his tail off, he does study. He also does work study here on campus, like most students. He's working as a volunteer, as a peer leader for our learning community, a management lead. He also helps peers as a master or mentor for academic success techniques and serves as an academic peer advisor last summer. Zach is here with his mother, Lorene Murphy. Stand up so we can see you. Thank you so much. We appreciate both of you. Your commitment to giving back to this community is something that we love and cherish. We have undoubtedly come a long way. And we've overcome many obstacles over the last 50 years to arrive at this point that we are all at today. So I've dwelled on the challenges for this institution and what we faced in the past. Let's just take a minute to turn to the future, and then I'll let you go. I want to answer the question that ought to be the ones that dictate the actions we take and the decisions we make today. What must this University of Massachusetts, Boston, become in the next 50 years? Number one, the University of Massachusetts, Boston must be an institution that leads in inclusion. So much of the past 50 years has been dedicated to overcoming barriers that created exclusion from high-quality university education, exclusion from academic and social experiences, and exclusion from solid careers and solid salaries. The next 50 years will be about leading in the areas of inclusion. To be sure, diversity is a defining element of our university. It's the first thing visitors notice when they walk through our halls. But diversity alone is not enough, and you know that. We see diversity. You see, diversity speaks to the creation of identities. It speaks to the recognition, the honor, and the dignity that we all must experience in spite of our differences. Inclusion, on the other hand, is predicated on the idea that everybody is incumbent in principle, if not in fact. In principle, everyone is in. There are no outsiders. The human community is not and must not be a competition for membership. Rather, membership is something that is a right assumed at birth. Over the next 50 years, the University of Massachusetts Boston must continue to lead in inclusion. We've already opened up the School for Global Inclusion and Social Development, an institution that focuses on research-supported practices that increase inclusion regionally, nationally and around the globe. Guided by this beacon on our campus, the university will produce groundbreaking research in areas in which we already lead, such as disparities in health, education, income, housing, social access in broad sciences, and learned societies, and in technical and also professional opportunities as well as others we will soon discover. We haven't found it all out yet. This dimension of our university community, our commitments to a more fair and just society, will continue to lead us all the way through our first century of existence. Second, the University of Massachusetts Boston must be an institution that leads in student success. That is an institution at which students successfully learn, achieve, graduate, and go on to a lifetime of health and prosperity. As a world-class public university, we must anticipate new measures of student success that track performance beyond graduation dates. And we must get out in front of this demand. More than anticipating a mandate, we should be a part of formulating those measures so that they make sense for our institution and that they make sense for our constituency. We must understand all higher education stakeholders have an interested perspective on student success. Employers want assurance from us. They want assurance from us that college graduates are ready to become productive employees. They can get that from a University of Massachusetts Boston trained individual. I experienced it firsthand when I went through bunion surgery. Every nurse I had, every nurse who came through to visit with me was from the University of Massachusetts Boston, and they were trained there. Loved that. And so, students and parents expect we will provide graduates the opportunity to achieve more than their preceding generations, to live a better life, to earn a better income, and to have a better understanding of the world. Policymakers require an understanding of the economic return from local, state, and federal investments in higher education. We had a session about that yesterday at the board meeting. We must engage with these realities, though it's not always comfortable for us. I don't like that. Somebody else trying to measure us or set policy for us. We must engage with these realities because these stakeholders are engaged with these concerns in a serious, and in some cases, desperate struggle for answers. We cannot ignore their views. Let's answer them and move on. Amid these sometimes conflicting demands, we must keep in the forefront of our ambition the importance of producing great human beings. Skilled workers and innovators, yes. Wealth creators, yes. Contributors to the economy, yes. Civically engaged individuals, yes. Culturally attuned individuals, yes. All of these characteristics and many, many more contribute to the full flowering of what it means to be human. And that, colleagues, is our true goal as an institution of higher education. No matter how corny, no matter how naive, no matter how elite it may sound to you or to others, our mission is to help develop human beings. And it leads to, among other things, morally and socially conscious societies. And the reach of the commitment to those values encompasses the human family. A sustainable global culture in a society like that depends upon that mission. And our next 50 years will be driven by that. Third, the University of Massachusetts Boston must be an institution that leads in collaborative efforts with government, with industry, and the academy across the Commonwealth, the region, the nation, and the world. Historically, isolation and exclusion has been the normative state of the academy. Perhaps because some maintain the ideological posture that there were people and institutions that did not want to work with universities. Not here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. That is not who we are or who we will be. This university currently has many wonderful collaborations, ranging from cancer research in the Center for Personalized Cancer Therapy to our partnerships with the real estate industry and other businesses to provide internships and employment opportunities, such as this past summer's CVP Career Academy. In fact, we collaborate with academic and research institutions on every continent. We will advance community-engaged scholarship and community engagement. The University of Massachusetts Boston has a rich history of mission-driven commitments that engage the campus with local, state, regional, national, and global communities. In the context of Public Urban Research University, the mission of community engagement is most clearly expressed through community-engaged scholarship. I remain aware that if community-engaged scholarship is going to be part of the institutional identity of this research university, it has to be encouraged, supported, and valued as scholarly activity. That's why I've asked the Provost to work with all who we need to work with to find a way to ensure that adequate organizational structures are created to enable us to fulfill our commitment to engagement and community-engaged scholarship. And to begin, we're going to create 4 new Chancellor's Awards that will be given at Convocation for community-engaged scholarship and community engagement to be awarded by selection committees of their peers. Faculty, professional staff, classified staff, and students will be available for those awards. And so Provost, Ed, and others, I expect you to work together, the deans, faculty members, those who are involved in those union classifications and others, to make sure that next convocation, we're honoring those people. In the next 50 years, we must more intentionally seek deep and productive partnerships with those who share our values and our vision. We cannot become what we envision in isolation. We must expand our sphere. We must expand our sphere of operation by allowing a more integrated relationship, scholarship, and more research. The world is increasingly losing patience with obsolete barriers to solving problems such as poverty, warfare, environmental decay, and global warming. We can be in front on those issues. So the University of Massachusetts Boston must be an institution that is more intimately involved in the broader field of education, finally. Most of you know the university's leadership role in Success Boston. You know that we serve more than 2,500 Greater Boston students through our pre-collegiate programming. You know about award-winning work in early childhood education. And you know of the many teachers, the administrators, and the scholars we educate in the College of Education and Human Development. We have partnerships with more than 80 school districts throughout the state. Our concern and involvement in education has never been questioned. Yet in the next 50 years, we must intentionally seek answers to these questions. What do the young come to know? How do they know what they know? Who gets access to what knowledge? Who gets to produce and use that knowledge? And as you can see, inclusion remains central to our inquiry in our so-called knowledge economy. The distribution and accessibility of knowledge is critical to the well-being of both our citizenry and our democracy. Over the next 50 years, we intend to impress an even larger footprint in the realm of education in Boston, and to be sure, We're going to also do that across our nation and around the globe. And so the University of Massachusetts Boston will be an institution that leads also in globalization. There are many definitions of that perspective, and there's so many perspectives on globalization, some which extol its benefits, others that I hear decry it. Without discounting many of its disabling impacts, there are many dimensions of the irreversible globalization process for which higher education and the University of Massachusetts Boston in particular must take leadership. On our campus and through our programs, students must come to understand that the globe is our common home. As such, each of us must uphold our responsibility to care for our physical planet and all of its inhabitants. Globalization occurs as humans learn about different parts of our common home. It occurs when people grapple with different styles and culture. It occurs when individuals live to learn and work with individuals from other places. For the next 50 years, we will facilitate globalization through more curricular offerings and changes, more joint research with institutions overseas, more study abroad opportunities for our students, more joint and dual degree programs with overseas institutions, more professors and staff exchanges with internships linking local with the globe, more infrastructure to support crossing city, regional, national, and cultural boundaries and borders, more graduates capable of working and finding their niche anywhere in the world. There is perhaps no realm to which the shrinking of the globe is a more urgent matter than the exchange of knowledge and culture. For these are the rails upon which this great engine of globalization may best be steered and directed to the benefit of humankind, especially if we are to eliminate the prejudices we harbor about each other. In the next 50 years, the University of Massachusetts Boston will lead the discussion around the broad need for the integration of knowledge in the release of the human imagination that will have great bodies of data available. For some, the unity of knowledge is considered a utopian dream, and yet deep investigation reveals that knowledge, as Edward O. Wilson argued, is one at the bottom. It has been passed down to us in divided form for political and ideological reasons, as well as for the creation of wealth and the supposed enlightenment of humanity. However, you will note that prior to the 17th century, the disciplinary divisions in which so many of us in higher education have been socialized did not even exist. Such divisions obscure an underlying unity that is frequently expressed in patterns of reassemblance which emerge from deep-level investigations like that goes on here. Knowledge brings with it a certain freedom. You know what it's like when you know something and someone else doesn't know it? Like when it's time to stop. While incomplete knowledge tinges that freedom with disjointedness, incomplete knowledge limits our capacity to effectively build social and human community. It curbs our ability to deal with an interconnected world and to engage effectively in a true global society. And it forestalls our power and competence to fully engage social problems that we face today and in the future. I am confident that this magnificent university, shaped by humble beginnings, ardent opponents, and unwavering allies, will knock down the artificial barriers that prevented our apprehensions of the unity and knowledge and clear the pathway toward the noblest human pursuits in this world. So despite the Herculean efforts of so many, so much of our interaction with this campus seems to be negotiation with digging, building, construction, redirecting, and parking. The normal flow of people and transportation has been disrupted and rerouted all over the place. Our Harborside campus is ascended by piles of dirt and deep holes. Our older buildings are regularly, as our poet laureate said, accessorized by scaffolding. And the promise of new and reinvigorated spaces for research, teaching, and learning often feel outweighed by the adjustments required to facilitate their coming. The many sacrifices and inconveniences that I have euphemistically referred to as mud on our shoes are a necessary and significant part of this vision for the next 50 years. Our journey towards this century mark must pass through the awkward terrain of new construction and new programming. But this temporary awkwardness will pass, and we will hit our strides as the premier research university we know ourselves to be. If we have overcome great disparities in facilities, financial resources, programmatic resources, and support of our status as a first-rate institution of higher education, we will have still graduated great academic, civic, business, and government leaders. We will still become a go-to institution for solving problems in the city, state, region, and nation. We will still produce scholarship that is renowned throughout the globe. Then how can anyone accept anything less than excellence for and from us? That is excellence for and from our students, excellence in the way we serve our society, and excellence in the production and distribution of new knowledge to the world. From this peninsula, we are blessed with expansive views of the Atlantic horizon. All around you, there are magnificent views. The skyline of Boston behind me and all of its downtown. The Blue Hills over there. We are drawn by these vistas into a drama that plays out in the story of our city and our nation to be all that it can be. We are drawn into the drama of a seaport colony, intent on being a city on a hill, with a calling to lead and yet having to wrestle with earthy human issues of every era. What am I suggesting today? I am suggesting that we must be ready to play our part in this grand, noble, and often contentious theater. Whether we are called to play the mind, whether we are called to play the heart, whether we are called to play the soul of our stakeholders, our constituents, we must do that. To do that, we must demonstrate inclusion. We must stimulate broadly the success of students. We must demonstrate collaboration across sectors and fields. We must place educational access and efficacy in the foreground of our efforts. And we must humanize the process of globalization. And all of this must be understood as one and the same effort with building a meaningful whole of human existence. Our vision for the next 50 years of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, remains tied to the aspirations of the city for which it is named, tied to the nation that it inhabits, and tied to the world that it serves, the grandest aspirations of the human race, that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and in their rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. That all are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. That everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. These audacious aspirations and all of those that our history of striving and struggle have engendered in the human spirit lie at the root of our vision for this university and the community of learning, scholarship, and service that it engenders year after year. With its humble past, its history of being excluded, the skewed perceptions of its quality, with all of the mud on our shoes and the struggle for space, I am proud of the University of Massachusetts, Boston. I am proud of our resiliency. I am proud of our strength. I am proud of the scholarship we produce. I am proud of the good work that we do. I am proud of the student who entered our classrooms and they travel our hallways. I am proud of the faculty, which is second to none in the world. I am proud of the staff, which keep the university running and facilitate every day the noble work that we do. We are no longer a campus fractioned as part of a university system that can be isolated by some data point, vicious intention, or unintended consequence. We are not perfect. I am not perfect. But we strive to become better every day and promise never to compromise our integrity on our way to doing that. We are the University of Massachusetts, Boston, a vital part of a great university that spans the Commonwealth and gifts valued citizens to the world. And I am so proud to be your chancellor. Onward and upward, you mighty community of noble human beings, to the next level of excellence. May the next 50 years be greater than the last. I am so sorry to keep you so long. I had a lot to say. You only got to listen to me this long, once a year. However, I had to say it. It's off my chest. Now let's work together for this wonderful institution. Together, we will become one of the greatest universities that this universe has ever seen. And I'm so honored to do it with you. So have a great day. Thank you.